Foreign Minister Krishna, thank you very much for being with us today. Now, the Indian embassy in Kabul was attacked earlier this month, with Taliban claiming the responsibility. Is a Taliban attack within the borders of India of a concern to you?
I think Afghanistan is one of the terror-infested countries, and government of Afghanistan has been fighting with the terrorist elements, and we certainly would hope that Afghanistan will be successful in eliminating these terrorists from its soil.
Do you think the militants could get their hands on military weapons in Pakistan?
Well, I don't want to sound very alarmistic about a situation like the one that you mentioned developing in Pakistan. But nonetheless, I would like to sound a note of caution that in a situation that the defense establishment has been attacked, and that only shows how vulnerable that Pakistan is for such terrorist attacks. So I would offer that Pakistan should join other countries like India in fighting a determined battle to eliminate terror from our neighborhood.
The geopolitics of the world is changing, with several new strong poles emerging, with India and China certainly being two of those strong poles. What's China to you? Is it a competitor? Is it a partner? Do you see it as a threat?
Well, China is one of our neighbors with which we have very cordial relations. We would like that relationship to be taken up to the level of partnership with China. But there are concerns between China and India, and one of the concerns is the outstanding boundary issues, and we hope that we will be able to work out a mutually acceptable boundary settlement between China and India.
Now, despite the fact that India is emerging as one of the world economic powers, there are millions and millions of within India that live in poverty. What's being done to cope with that?
We are fighting the specter of poverty. Poverty has come over a few centuries, and it cannot be eliminated in 60 years. We are constantly battling with it, and then we are trying to improve the life of the Indian people.
Sir, during the last G20 summit, we have heard that developing nations will actually have a more active role in the future. What role will India have?
Well, India is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. When developed countries were showing a negative growth in the face of the global slowdown, India is one of the few countries which has showed a remarkably high degree of GDP growth. Our growth between 2004 and 2008 was around 8 to 9%. But unfortunately, the global slowdown has had a big impact on India, as a result of which our growth rate has come down to around 6%. And even a 6% growth rate, when other countries are showing a negative growth rate, I think is a very commendable effort by Government of India and by the people of India.
The BRIC countries is seen by many as an emerging force on political arena. How do you think BRIC will change the geopolitics of the world?
Well, The world is a dynamic instrument, It cannot be static, I think the world of the 20th century is totally different than the one that we see in the 21st century, Lots of new countries have come up and they have come back to their own. For example, Brazil and Argentina and China, the most outstanding example. I think these are essential